Let's have a look at this diagram over here, this entity relationship diagram. So we have a few entities here. We have a category table, a product table, an order item table, an order table, and a customer table. Now this is related to a web shop where people can order things, right? So we have a customer here, and you can see that there is a relationship between the order table and the customer table. And it is that one customer can place many orders. So each order belongs to exactly one customer. So if Sarah places 3 orders, for example, then all 3 orders point back to Sarah. Yeah? So it's a one-to-many relationship. Then we look at the next table here, order and order item. Now, one order can have many order items. So think of an order as like a receipt. And each order item is a line on that receipt. So for example, 2 coffees, 1 muffin, things like that. Let's have a look at the connection between order item and product. So they have as you can see, a one-to-many relationship. So one product can appear in many order items across different orders. So order item is essentially here the bridge between a product here and an order. Yeah, it's in between. Then we have the last one here, product and category. And again, one category here can contain many products. So a product optionally belongs to a category. I'm going to make this one optional, which means I don't want it in bold. Meaning that a product can exist without being assigned to a category yet. So we can register a product. We don't have to assign it to a category yet. It's a choice we make when we program. For example, the category beverages, for example, drinks, could have many products. So category would be beverages. It could contain many products. Coffee, tea, juice. But a new product can be added to the store before we decided its category. As you can see here, all of them are in bold except the category then, which means that all of these need to be entered before they're approved, but we do not have to enter a category for the product just yet in the beginning. Now let's have a look what this looks like then in Prisma. So here I've pulled it up and we have the customer model here in the schema.prisma file. And we can see here that we have the ID, which is the primary key. Then we have a name. And we have, I see that I have one too many here. A name, an email, a name, an email. And we have a created at, and then we have an orders one here because it is connected to the orders table. That's why we have that one right there. Then let's have a look at the orders model here. That is the next one on our list. Again, we have the primary key. Then we have the order date. We have the customer ID, the order date here. We have the customer ID, and it is connected to the customer table. So you can see it is connected here to the customer table. And then we have an order item array here and it created at. This one over here is because it is connected to our order item table. So when we look at the order item model here, we again see we have an ID, which is a primary key. We have a quantity, and then we have two foreign keys, the order ID and the product ID. And you can see here that there is a relationship here. It's connected to the order table and the product table. So the order table here and the product table. Then we can look at the product table. We have an ID, we have the name, we have the price, we have the name, we have the price, we have the stock, how many of there are in there. Then we have the category ID here, and that's a question mark, which means it is optional. That's why it's not in bold in our ERD. And then we have our foreign key here, the category ID, connected to our category table, and also we are connected to the order items table. So then we look at the last one here, the category table, which has a primary key, it has a name, and it is connected to our products table. Great. So these are our models. Then when we generate this, so we can use this in Express, we can start looking at this. But before I do that, we seed some data in it, into every of these models, so that we can play around with it. So let's have a look. So here I have a seed file with some dummy data. Here we have created 3 users, or 3 customers, I should say, and they have a name and they have an email. The created at is generated automatically, and so is the ID. Then we have the order table, and in the order table we have the customer ID, as you can see here. So customer 1, customer 1, customer 2, and customer 3, and then they have their ID here, and this is depending on their orders. Okay. Now let's look at the order item table here, which is slightly different here. Okay, you do not see an ID here, for example, like you do in all the other tables. An order item is modeled as a composite key join table. The combination of order ID and product ID together serve as the primary key, rather than having a separate ID field. So these need to be unique themselves. An order can only contain a given product once. If you need the same product twice in an order, then you would increase the quantity instead of adding a duplicate row, right? So saying instead of 1 coffee, I want 2 coffees, you don't place another order, you just add another one. You change the quantity. So the pair order ID and product ID is therefore always unique and therefore sufficient to identify any row. So the other models here then, where you see ID, they each need their own ID, and that is because the same customer, so Alice, for example, could place multiple orders, and then the same product can appear in many orders, etc. So there's no natural combination of fields that guarantees uniqueness otherwise. Order item, this one, this one here, that we're talking about. This is the exception because it sits at the intersection, right? It's like a bridge, as I said, of exactly 2 entities. Right. So once we see this into the database, we can have a look at them. So let's do that now. So now I've logged into Prisma Studio, and you can see that I have my category table here, and I have my 3 rows in here: electronics, clothing, home and kitchen. I have my customer table, Alice, Bob and Charlie. I have my order table with my 4 orders here, and you can see the ID and the customer ID, and then you can see the order items table here, where it's linked as a bridge, and then the last one here is the products, and I have them up here. Okay, you can also click on the visualizer, and if I move this one over, then you can see here that they are nicely connected. So customer to order, a one-to-many relationship, and they all have a one-to-many relationship here, which is, you can see that here too, one-to-many, 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 one-to-many. And you can also see here that the category ID here is optional because it's marked as a question mark. So great way to check your ERD together with your model. Does it work as intended? Okay, let's move on and let's have a look at some queries here. So I've opened up Visual Studio Code and I went to my index.ts file where I run my express routes. I've created some endpoints here, and one of them is products. So when I run my server on localhost 3000 and I open up Insomnia, and I am going to the right workspace here. So I'm now in my webshop workspace here, and if I say get all products, so I go to localhost 3000/forward products, as you can see right here, /forward products, then what I should be able to get is I should be able to get all the products that I have. Sorry, I need to go to the get, right? So I get all my products here, and I can also filter if I want to. So let's try that out. I want maybe a specific category, and one of the categories here would be electronics. So let's try that out. So here, then I could specify this. Let's see here. Let's create another one. Get all products by, and we say category. Maybe I should spell it correctly. There. And what we can do then is we can specify the category here, and we paste in what we had before, and we run this, and now we get the items that are in the category of electronics. Now one last thing I want to show you, and I'll go back to my code, is I want to show a table where the customer can see his order and the products in that order and how many. So I want to go to the orders, and then I want to say, okay, this is my order ID. Then what happens is I create a variable here called order, and what I said here is I want to find the unique, and then what I do here is where, and I take in the order ID here from the request.params, right at the top, and then I want to include here, so I'm going to join the tables here, where we take in from the customer table, and we take in then also the product. So we include the customer table and we include the product. Include. Yeah. I'll just, maybe it's clearer like this. So we include the customer, and then for the items we include the products. And then we do an if. So if there's no order found, what do we do? So what do we do here? We take the order here, and then with the JSON we get back here. We send back the order ID with the order date, and in the customer, the ID, name, and email. For the items, we map over them. Yeah, so we take the order ID, we get the order ID, we get the order date, we get the details from the customer, and then the items in that order, we map over them. So we get the product name, the quantity, the price, and the total price. So we take the amount of the amount of items times their price for each item, and we also use the reduce method to get the total price. Okay, so we take the sum and the item, and then we say sum plus, and then we multiply the item by the quantity times the we take the sum and we have the item.quantity, we multiply that by the item.product.size, and you've practiced this before, so you probably understand how this works. Now let's have a look here then. How do we do this? So we take in the order ID, and if we just go back to get all products here, we have the products here, and what about the orders? So we go back to our orders. Let's see. Did I create one that said orders by itself? Probably not. But of course, when we look here, we can see we have order 1, 2, 3, and 4. So let's have a look. So I go back into Insomnia, and then I can say, okay, what about order number 1? And I send this, and you can see, and let me go back into here. We go back here. Okay. We have taken the order ID, the order date. For the customer, we have the customer ID, name, and email. And then for the items here, we said we map over them. So there were 2 items. Okay, we have the product, quantity, price per unit, and total price. So 1 times 1200 equals 1200. And we map over it. So the next one, product, quantity, price per unit. So 2 times 20 equals 40. And then we have the total price, and you can see 1200 plus 40 is correct. So that's how you would join the tables. Yeah, you use the let me show you here, the include into your endpoints. Okay, I hope this helped you a little bit, and see you in the next video.